Hello and welcome to another video for Indigo Blue. My name's Jane and I'm one of the design team, and today we are going to be working with the most amazing papers. I'm sure a lot of you saw just recently on Hobbycraft where they were launched, and I just, sometimes you have things and you just go, I just love them. Small faces. There's nothing small about these, they are just gorgeous, but I've used lots of them, so I'm just going to sort of flick through. But you've got women, you've got men, you've got all sorts of different shapes, sizes, eyes, lips, mouths, colours. They're just gorgeous. I love every single one of them. You've got large ones on, sorry, I've used quite a few. You've got large ones on this side, you've got smaller ones on that side, you've got your ATC sides at the front. They are just gorgeous. Mixed media art paper, small faces, and there are 72 unique mixed media whimsical faces. I just think they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. You could take them just as they are and mount them on the wall if you wanted to, but there's so many other things that we can do with them. Alongside those, we have got By the Numbers, which again is just a, oh sorry, I've got other papers behind as well. That's from one of our other ones that I was using. By the Numbers, and again these are, and I have used quite a few of them, but they are just lovely. Lots of colours, lots of numbers, so you could pick out somebody's specific birthday number, a 16th, a 19th, a 22nd. You can use them as sort of collage pieces, you can use them as just extra little pieces. You've got your ATCs as well, so just lovely. So we're going to be using those. There are also some lovely stamps, so I'm going to be using the Abstract Marks number 2, and I'm going to be using the Wings. Fly on wings made of courage and bravery. Learn to fly, let your dreams be your wings. Just lovely. So we're going to be using those. We're also going to be using some of the new Vivids. Now I've got 2 lots of Vivids here. These Vivids are the brand new, they're brand new packaging, brand new colours, which are primaries. So you've got a primary red, primary yellow and primary blue. And they come now in, I haven't got these yet because they are so new. They come in a drop bottle. So you have a dropper and you can actually just put a drop in. I'm using refills that I've got. So I've got those, and I've taken some metallic red and metallic yellow because I thought that I might use a little bit of that. So those are all in my refills, and I can put those away now because I got those out to just drop them. You only need a tiny amount, and you can then add water to them, and you can mix them and colour them. So I have stamped out, because I wanted to wait for it to dry completely, 2 of the wings, like that. And I'm going to, let me see what brush I'm going to use. I'm going to use a this sort of brush, I think will work perfectly. And I want to make them sort of yellowy, I think. So I'm going to take the primary yellow, which is a really bright yellow, and I'm going to take the metallic, and I'm going to just mix some of those. I might have a little bit of the red as well. So let's, and I need a bottle of water, don't I? Let me just take some of the water out of this and pour it into a pot. I didn't collect a cup of water, so I just need to add that in. And that's probably a bit mucky, but it'll be fine. Let's put it in like that. That'll do, I think. There. Right, then I can put this back. These bottles are amazing. I use it all the time. It is the nicest little bottle. Says me getting it back on there. It just has the most gorgeous fine spray mist on it, and again it's on the website, so you can get it from there. Right, so I'm just going to pick up some of this yellow. This is the primary yellow, and I'm just going to put some round on here. Now, because I'm cutting it out, it doesn't really matter how I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to have a little bit of the metallic just further up, because that'll give a bit of shimmer to it. And then I want to have just a little bit, and I'm not going to change my brush actually. I just want a little bit up on here on the top of the wings that I can then blend through. So I can just add that sort of, blend it through a little bit. Now this is just normal cardstock. If you used watercolour, it would blend a little bit more, but it still works pretty well. So now I just want to, just going to add just a little bit on there to just blend it through just a little bit more. I don't want to saturate it too much because it's just normal cardstock, and you can go a little bit over the top with it. Okay, so I just want to, I'm just going to mix a little bit of the yellow with a little bit of the because I just want a little bit more sort of orangey tones on here. See if I can get that. That's better. Just in on here. Okay, I'm doing this first because I want it to dry, and I just want to take a little bit of that. Okay, that'll be fine, otherwise I'll be faffing about too much. Let me clean my brush off, and I can put those out of the way for now. And I can put those to one side, and we'll cut them out at the end once they've had a chance to dry. Okay, so now let's get on to, I'm going to use this lovely image here, and I've got a long DL card. Is it DL? I'm not sure. It's the long card anyway, and I've taken one and just trimmed it down with a tiny little border on there, so that will work perfectly like that. Let's take that out of there. And then what I want to do is I want to use some of the numbers. So like everything, I don't throw any pieces away. So I'm just having a look to see if I've got any in my, what I call my scraps. Not sure. Now I've got, what I have done is I've got some old scraps of paper. So this is just different coloured bits of cardstock that I happen to have. And I've got some, I've done a couple of them, and I'll show you how to do some of the others. So that's just got a little bit of orange in there. There's a little piece of red which will work. And that's a piece of, another piece of neutral. So I'm going to use those pieces. I'm going to use, and I'm just looking to see whether I've got my enough bits of numbers in here. Yes, I've got a 19 and I've got a 78. So again, I keep all my scraps because you can use all your scraps in all sorts of things. So I'm going to have this one, which is the 98 and the 78. And I'm just going to sort of cut it down a bit, but I want to cut it probably a bit like this. we'll have that somewhere. And the 78, these are quite big. So some of them are quite small. These are bigger, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to use them. Now what I can do is, let's take these in half. So we've got a 7 and an 8. That might work. And I'm going to take that as a 1 and a 9 because I don't want it too big on this particular image. So let's take that one, and then we'll take this. So what I want to do is to just add a bit of a sort of a collage-y type effect on it. So I am going to, let's take this off and see what we can do with this, and we'll take this because we'll add that in at the end. Okay. So I want to take these little pieces and I want to add, this is it, I've done a few, and these are going to be cut down a bit. So I've already used the square one. Those are my 1s and my 9s. That's another one that I've used on there. I'll just show you what I did with, here we go. These are all done with the abstracts. So what pattern I haven't used any circles on there, have I? But I might just use those in on the actual image. So let's do one with, that's the crosshatch. Let's do one with the lines, shall we? Or maybe, no, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to use these little ones. So let me just find a little block on here. And I'm going to do it with, I'm going to use some ink with this actually. Now I could use some mulberry bush. I think that's going to be too similar to, it might be all right. Let's see if I can do it on this. And what I tend to use is an old block. You can see I've used it quite a bit. And I just put a little bit of the ink on there. That should do. And then I should be able to just make a lovely pattern on it, stamp it out a bit like that, and then, oops, put my brush down there. I'm just going to, and I've got some old cardboard underneath because I find that it saves my desk quite a bit. Oh yes, you see that's going to come out quite nicely. So you can just literally add as much or as little as you want to it, and I'm just sort of doubling up sometimes to just give a little bit more texture on it, and then you just need to clean your brush, your ink pad off fairly quickly. Now I've just got some water and I've just got a little scrub cleaner thing, or you can do it with a cloth, as long as you just clean it off straight away and then you don't have any residue, and then your stamps will last you forever and ever and ever and ever. Well, I always say ever and ever and ever and ever. They'll last at least my lifetime. You know, they are made of really good red rubber, so, you know, they will last you forever, as you all know. Now, I'm going to just leave that for a minute because I never try and waste anything. So what I'm going to do with this is, because I've got a little bit left, I'm just going to take a piece of card like this, and I've got whatever's left on here, and I'm just going to go like that with it, and go like that. I can have a little bit of water on there, because like everything, if you, there we are. Now I can let that dry, and that can again be something that I can add to at another time. So don't ever waste any of your bits. You can use them as much as you want. Okay, so I'm just going to put that out of the way. And so this is where we've got, so that's the one that we've just done, and these I've done with other pieces, so it just gives us a little bit of a sort of a collage look. So let's bring back our lady. Here she is. I'm just going to put her under. That's not quite dry yet, but let's bring her back on here. And then what I want to do is I just want to add some little, because can you see you've already got pieces on there, so I just want to add some little bits. That's actually will work quite nicely straight on there. And then let's take some of these at different angles coming down. This probably needs to be cut down a little bit because I don't want them too big. In fact, that can probably be cut in half, can't it? Let's just cut that one in half. And I'm going to cut that one in half as well, because I don't want two big ones in on there. Right, that'll work like that. Let's take one down on there. This is the one that we've just done. So we can take that down. Let's have a squarish one on here. That's sort of squarish, isn't it? Should we put that underneath or over? That's quite nice. Then we've got our numbers. Okay, so let's sort of start adding these together now. Get some grab and go. It's one of my favourite glues because it just sticks everything to everything. Quite like that long bit on there. It's a great glue because, as I say, it sticks anything. And because I don't have a huge amount of patience, I find that it is one that I really enjoy working with because, as I say, it dries really well and really hard. Now I'm just going to put these in at sort of angles and try not to make them too uniform. So let's stick that one out at that angle, because you want it to look, just to give it a little bit of texture. So we're going to take that one just to the end there. That'll work nicely. And then let's put this one, that's a red, isn't it? We've got our numbers and things to go over. So let's put that one like that. And do I want that there? Yes, I think I do. Just going to pop that in like that. Let's take that at an angle like that. Okay. So now what I tend to do is I turn it over on the other side and give it a rub, because then you're not rubbing onto your actual picture and smudging it. You're doing it at the side. Now let me get these numbers and things out now. So shall we have a number Quite like that one, straight over the top on there. Although, do I want a slightly darker one? An 8 might be quite nice. It's quite a nice rounded shape, isn't it? So I can put the 8 on. Now you can sponge around the edges of these. I don't think I'm going to do that on this one because I think I want, that's going to work quite nicely, I think. Yes, we'll have those too. Because I'm going to be doing some stamping over the top. So you can do if you want to. I do sometimes, but again, I don't all the time. So let's put this one in. Just a bit like that. It's nice over the top. That one can go over these ones. And we'll put this one in just over the top like that. Quite like doing a bit of collaging. Okay, so that's that one. Now, I want one of these to come right up into the corner, but then I'm going to cut it off. So I just want the one, and we'll have the 7, I think, rather than the 1. That on there. And I want it right tight into that corner. So I might have to just trim the edges off. Oh, I might be okay. Just a little bit. Put my glasses on. I can't even see where I am on here because it's the different colour. I think I'm all right actually. Let's have a look on this little bit here. There we go. Okay, so that now is sort of balanced in on there quite nicely. Now we've got these wings, which I think, well, yeah, I think they will probably work. They're still a little bit damp. So let me see if I can just dry them off a second with my heat gun and see if that will, excuse the noise. That's the only trouble is if you do it live, then when you're cutting it out, it's not going to work particularly well. It's a little bit better. It's not completely dry, but I think it'll be okay. So I'm just going to take this and just fussy cut round it. Trying to do it relatively quickly. It is still a little bit damp. It's not too bad, but it's got where the mica in the metallic vivids are, it gives a real sort of little shine to it. So do have a little look on the website because there's all sorts of colours that are, I know they've been selling out quickly, so you know they are either there or will be coming if they've run out of stock, because as say the launch they just flew out, as most things do, but they will be back in if they're not already there. So I'm just going round on here. Take that round. Yeah, it's still a bit damp. I can feel it. Can you see how it's coming off on my fingers? So it does need to be left for a little bit while longer. So I might have to not put these on these, but we'll see. We'll see. Because what I was going to do was to put them there, but then that's going to cover up those bits. I might actually leave them, but you can see how you can paint these beautifully. So they might not go on there because they are still too damp and they're just rubbing off on everything, and I don't want them to rub off on everything on here. Okay, so we've got these on here. Now what I want to do is I want to add some other, you've got these lovely little lines and things on here, so I'm going to add some, I like these long lines which are here, so let me take them out so we can see. I want these long lines because I want some of those to come down, and I want some of the cross hatches because I quite like those as well. So and I could have splatters, but I think that'll be a bit of overkill. It's one of those things where, you know, where they go less is more, and it's very true. And I'm somebody who tends to add more and more and more and more, and then suddenly go, oh my goodness, I've just added too much. So I'm just going to put this on this one like that, and I'm going to use my VersaFine black because I want to sort of tie it all in black. So I could use colour, but because we've got the colour on here, I think I just want to use the black, and then I'm going to just put it so that that comes in straight down over the top, which is rather good. And then I'm going to do exactly the same down in on that one. So you've got those lines and things coming through, and then I want the cross hatch, which is this one. Pop that one on that one. And again, I'm just going to add some VersaFine in there. Let me just take this up. I'm going to do that in half in and half off, I think. Yes, that's quite nice. Just got a few lines in on there, which is quite good. So I might do, let's see if it'll come out on the little bit down in the bottom, I think, like that. Oh, that's quite good. I like that at that angle. Okay, so we've got those pieces on there. Let me just clean those off. I always try and clean everything as I work, because otherwise you end up with not particularly clean stamps. And I love these stamps, so I want them to last a long time because I'm going to be using them lots and lots. Okay, right, so we've got those on there, we've got those on there. Right, I'm not using those wings because they are too, what do you call it? They're too wet still, because I used it with the paint. What I am going to do though is, and this is sort of a mishmash of what I did for some of my samples. I'm going to just add, and I need to go and grab another stamp. So while I'm here, which one do I need to add? That's it. Okay, this is the stamp, which is stitched foliage, and I use this so much because I love these little flowers. And the great thing about these little flowers is that you can stamp all three of them at a time. And so if I just put these 1, 2, 3, put them in close together like that. I can actually stamp them all at the same time. And then, right, let's have a look and see if I've got a little bit of scrap white. So I should do. Here we go, that'll do. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. Back on here. And I'm going to use, I need to use a water-based one because I'm going to use some alcohol markers quickly on this. So I'm going to be using Memento, which is a water-based ink. So, which means I can then colour it with some alcohol markers, which is a nice, easy, quick way to do it. So let's do 3. Let's put another 3 on just in case. Now, as I've said before, I normally prepare and have quite a few of these in place, but I use them all when I was using my samples, so I've had to do some more now. So, and then I'm literally just going to colour them in. So we need to look at the colours that we've got, and we can do them either in the same colours or we can take slightly different colours. So we've got sort of reds and oranges and things there, but we've got these blues here. So I'm going to have a little look and see if I've got a blue in my alcohol markers that might just match that up or be pale enough that it'll work. So let's take these out and have a little look. That probably will, but it's a little bit pale. Let's have a look at that one, might be better. Let's see what that one's like. I just have to make sure that I've got the, see that one. Yes, that will work, won't it? So I'm literally just colouring in these. Do it quite quickly. You'd obviously spend a little bit more time. I don't know whether I'll need all 6, but I'm going to do them just in case, because I want them to be sort of tucked in next to each other like that. Okay, now I just want a little bit of, I'll have yellow in on the centre. I should have orange really, shouldn't I? Yes, I'm going to have an orangey one, because the orange one will give a little bit more of the same colour in there. So a little bit of orange in on the centre. Like that. And I think that's probably, I was going to have a look at doing maybe some tonal effects at the end, but I don't think I need to do that. So let me cut a few of these out quickly. Because again, sometimes you don't want to have too much colour in. If you put too much colour in, it can then just get a bit mucky. Or it doesn't, each of the elements you want to stand out rather than them all merging in together too much. So this way you can do, and as I say, if you're somebody that sits watching the television, cutting little flowers and things out like that is a really good way, and then keep them in the back of the case or however you store your stamps, and then when you're ready to use them, you've always got some colours. Now, okay, it depends on what colours you're using, but this I think will work quite well. because it's the right sort of tonal blue. It's not exactly the same blue because I don't want it to be matchy, but it's enough of a colour that is not going to shout at the other work that we've been doing, and we'll just give a little bit of extra sort of tone on here. Let's take that off. Take this one in this way. And I love these stamps because these little flowers are really, they're stitched and they're lovely because they're not quite perfect and they just fit in any sort of thing. So if you're wanting to do sort of, you know, like a little bit of blossom like this, then you can do it quite easily without it being the flowers looking too realistic, as it were. They're just like nice little images of a flower that could be any flower you wanted. So I just love them. I think they're ones that I use. You know, some things you always use again and again and again and again, and these are ones that I use again and again and again if I'm doing something, just a couple of little flowers. And particularly with these faces, I think they work really well just with a little flower on there, because it gives a slightly sort of, you know, the cherry blossom, slightly sort of oriental type look on there. Yeah, that's going to be great. I am going to do the other ones on there because I want it to all sort of work together. And I think we're almost, then we'll almost be done. We just want to have a little sentiment on there, and I haven't decided what I'm going to put. I might actually just leave it, because quite often I will leave the words until I send the card, because depending who you're sending it for will depend on what words you want to put on there. So I love the courage and bravery on the wings one, because that's really good if you've got, you know, I've got a friend at the moment who's going through a particularly rough time with their health, and you know, they're going to be in hospital shortly. Sorry, I just dropped that on the floor. They're going to be in hospital shortly, so you know, an encouragement card like that is lovely, courage and bravery. But there are so many different words depending on what occasion you want to send it, and sometimes you want a just because. You know, I send cards just because. You know, it's nice to just send. I don't think we'll ever get to a stage. I know people turn around and say, you know, oh, we're going to get to a stage where people won't send cards and things. I hope we never get to that stage, because part of the joy of, I know that a lot of people I send my cards to, they keep all the cards, and it's a part of us, isn't it? When you send something to somebody, you're sending a little bit of yourself. You're sending a little bit of your love and your care and your attention to them. And I think that always means a lot. So, right, we're nearly down to the last one. And as you see, it doesn't take very long to do it. I'm not doing it perfectly, but then it doesn't have to be done perfectly. But I love cutting little flowers out. I've done them a lot, and these ones particularly, I just love them. They're just a beautiful size and shape and everything. Right, let's take those out. Let's bring that back. So just sort of along the hairline like that. That's beautiful. Love that. Okay, so I just want to put, and I'm going to glue them, but I'm not going to glue the whole thing. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of glue to the center and then just pop it down. Because then the little edge pieces, you can, when your glue's dry, you can just raise them up just a little bit and get that sort of dimensional look. And again, wet glue is fantastic because it means that you can change it around before you commit yourself. You can just have, as you can see, I'm just popping them in, and then I can just press them down in the center when I'm convinced that I've got them in exactly the right place. So let's just put that in underneath like that. And we'll put this one in. Come to do it in just in underneath there like that. And I can just sort of move them around a bit to exactly where I want them before I press it all down. There we go. And as I say, as soon as this grab and glow is absolutely brilliant. So I think that's really pretty. That's just added a little bit of an element thing at the top. Now let's take our card base and we can put that in on there like that. And then I was thinking of words, wasn't I? And I was going to put this, the wings thing, but we're not using the wings now. So there's lots of other sentiments and things and words that you could use, which are, I'm going to show you the other one. I'm not going to do them now because it will take a little bit too long, but this is another one from the selection, which is we are such stuff as dreams are made of. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Make your own kind of music, learn to swim against the tide, magic is believing in the impossible, be here right now, embrace imperfection, it's where true beauty and growth reside, love looks not with the eyes, everyone has their own story to tell, it's the little things. You see, I can't decide which one I'm going to do on there, so I'm just going to leave it like that for you. But you've got 3 different things in here. So you've got your little flowers, you've got the little collage, you've got the stamping over the top of it, and you've got some of the numbers as well. So I think that that's worked quite well and makes a really pretty card to send to somebody. So I hope you enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.